have got a bit of an International Women's Day theme for our session today. And it's been really interesting reading up on some of the history of women in yoga. And as with many things, there's been ups and downs, but it certainly was not always the very female thing that yoga seems to be now. But I'll tell you a bit more about that as we go along. But we're going to just start off with our usual grounding exercise. So you want to be on your chair. Doesn't matter what chair it is, but if it's height adjustable, then do adjust it so that you can get your feet flat on the floor so that you feel nice and stable there. And then coming towards the edge of the seat so that you can sit up nice and tall. And then just thinking about lifting up, rolling your shoulders back and down, sitting up nice and tall, trying to make sure you've got plenty of length around your neck and your head's nice and level on your, balancing up at the top of your neck. And then just let your hands rest wherever they go naturally. And then either close your eyes if you feel okay with that, or look away from the screen and just start to bring your attention inwards. Notice how you're feeling today. Notice where your thoughts go. And just know that it's okay if your mind's really busy, especially at the beginning. It's very normal. Just maybe gently bringing your attention to your breath. And then from here, I just invite you to bring your hands together in prayer position and bring your thumbs up onto your breastbone. And then just gently dip your head down towards your fingers. And you get a nice stretch on the back of your neck there. And as you come there, I'm just going to give you a little something to think about. And the theme this year of International Women's Day is Choose to Challenge. And it's about challenging stereotypes, challenging female stereotypes. And I just encourage you to just take a moment to think about what challenging female stereotypes means to you. No right or wrong answer. I'm not going to ask anybody to tell me what came up, but just think a little bit about what that means to you. What does choose to challenge mean to you? And take one more nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, we'll just let your hands come down onto your lap. So, as I say, women in history, women in yoga history have got a long and kind of varied story. But one thing that's very prominent through yoga and Eastern philosophies is the idea of a goddess. And that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to work up to a yoga pose called goddess pose. It just seemed very fitting for the theme. So we're going to do some movements and things that will help us to warm up for that. And the first one that we're going to do is using a mudra, which is like a hand movement. And this one's called Kali mudra. And Kali, I have discovered, was a really, really unpleasant goddess, the goddess of destruction. So Kali mudra just means bringing your hands together with your fingers pointing out. So if you think of it as a bit of a Charlie's Angels kind of move. And we're gonna, so bring your hands into your Kali mudra. So, and then bring your arms out in front of you with your fingers pointing away. Now, once you get there, try and think about slightly plugging your shoulders, your arms back into your hip sockets a bit. So you're not completely rounding through the back. You're keeping a little bit of a lift in the chest and just stretching the fingers away there. As I say, totally go for the Charlie's Angels vibe. And then on an inhale, we'll take the arms up and overhead and have a nice stretch up there. And as you come up, engage your abdominals a little bit, and that will help you to not arch too much in the back as you come up. And then on an exhale, coming back down to shoulder level. And we'll just keep that going a few more times with your breath. So inhaling as you come up. And then exhaling as you come down. Now, as I say, in yoga philosophy, yoga actually predates all organized religions. So back 2,500 years ago, there's evidence that men and women all did yoga equally. But then in the intervening years, it became something. It's often said that yoga was written by men for men. And certainly through the kind of Middle Ages and right up until about 150 years ago, it was very much a male thing in more recent years. So the fact that more women do yoga now, particularly in the global north, is quite a new phenomenon. Okay, we'll just let that go there now. Have a little bit of a shake out. And then we'll come back into that mudra with your fingers, your Charlie's Angels mudra, and we'll just take a little bit of a side bend. So if you just bring your arms up and overhead, and then we're going to lean over, first of all, to the right-hand side, but make sure you keep your left buttock really firmly planted down, and again, engaging the core a little bit there. And hopefully you're getting a nice stretch all the way down this side here. And then on an inhale, come back up to center, and then we'll take it over to the other side. And again, this time making sure that you've got the opposite buttock or sitting bone really kind of rooted down. So you're getting that stretch. So you're trying to keep the weight evenly across both sides of your hips. And then on an inhale, coming back up. And then again, we'll just let the hands down, maybe give them a little bit of a shake. So we're starting to warm up a bit through the shoulders, and we'll now start to again warm up a bit for what the upper arm part of goddess pose. And the upper arms of goddess pose is the arms a bit like this in a kind of football, like American goalposts kind of thing. So to warm up for that, we'll just do it as a moving one. So bringing your hands up in front of you, so your elbows are lifted up, maybe a bit of a right angle here. And then on an inhale, just open out and really think about your hands pulling back. And then exhaling, coming forward. And we're going to keep that going. So inhaling, as I say, when you come back, really think about the palms coming back, the shoulder blades coming together. And then inhaling forwards, hands together. We'll do it a couple more times. Imagine you're sort of pinching a pencil between your shoulder blades, but trying to make sure you're not hunching up the shoulders too much, keeping not lots of space around the neck. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Really make this one count. And then back to center. And then just let your arms come down. Give them a little bit of a shake out. Okay, we're going to stand up now. We'll bring a little bit of movement into, just warm up the spine and the hips a little bit now. So we'll just standing with the feet hip distance apart, feet nice and firmly rooted into the floor first of all. And as I say, this is the first time we've come up to standing, so we'll just check out how things are first of all. So think about drawing energy up the legs, trying to make sure the hips are nicely balanced. Your pelvis is sort of not, you're not kind of sticking out or too far forwards, nicely in alignment. Lifting up through the torso, shoulders rolling back and down, arms loose at your side, and again your head nice and level on the neck. And I'm just feeling what it's like to be standing up. And then we're going to take some of the kind of spaghetti arms, the swaying side to side. So for this, I'm going to encourage you to move let your foot come up as you go around, and bend your knees, because we don't want to jar the knees doing this. The knees are hinge joints, so they're meant to go forwards and back, but not really side to side. So do let your heel come up on the back foot as you go. And feel free to experiment a bit, you could bring the hands up towards the shoulders or more around your waist. But if you just kind of let them go like wet spaghetti, just let them kind of flop around and feel the air and the energy move around. So that's one thing that's really strong in yoga philosophy, is the energy, the idea of the energy that animates matter is a female energy. So it's called Shakti. So the mother is the creator of everything in yoga philosophy. Okay, I'll just take a couple more sort of, don't worry if you can't remember which side you've started on, but if you kind of even up a bit, maybe slow it down. And then just come back to center, and again, maybe a little flicker out if you need to, just easing things off. And that's a really good movement there for getting energy really going around the body, getting everything really warmed up. Hopefully you can feel your blood flowing a bit more now. Okay, so full goddess pose involves having the hips out. I'm going to give some options for it, but we're going to warm up our hips just a little bit first of all as well before we come to do it. So you don't have to be to your side of your chair like I am, but you can use your chair for support for this one. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is some sort of big circles with the knees and the hips here. So just opening up and doing what feels good for you. So if your circles are a lot smaller, that's fine. You can do it at your own pace. But what we want to do is start to feel like we're warming up into the hip socket there, and balancing on one leg as well, which is good for us. If you feel you can do it without using the chair for support, go ahead if you want to experiment. And then we'll take it in the other direction. So we've done kind of opening out. So we'll sort of bring it, kind of wind it back in now. And warming up there. Okay, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So again, you might need to change your position depending on the space you're in. I'm just going to come around to the other side here. And on my side, it's the right leg. You might have done a different one. But just standing up tall and then taking the hips in circles just to winding it round there just to warm up through the hips. Ready to have a go at our goddess pose here. And then winding it back in the other direction once you've done a few one way. So most people tend to start opening outwards. So come back inwards. And just getting the hips nice and warmed up. Okay. Right, I'll show you what goddess pose looks like, and then you can have a think about and some different options. You can have a think about how exactly you want to give it a go. But it's a very strong posture. So what you choose to do might depend on your body, and it might also depend on what you're wearing today or what the environment's like. But full goddess pose, if you just watch for now, is the feet not massively wide apart, but a little bit of a distance apart with the toes pointing outwards, and then squatting down. I'm not wearing the best clothes for this today either. Sort of squatting down almost as if you were sitting on a chair, and then the arms in that position that we did before. So that's the full goddess pose. We'll come into it properly in a minute. But the options are, if standing up like that is too tough for you, I mean, you could just do the arms. You could just do standing and do the arms, or you could do it seated with the feet apart and do the arms there. It's about attitude as much as anything. So there's some different options. And to be honest, if you're wearing some clothes like a tight skirt or something that doesn't do it, you can sit and just do the arms as well. So there's lots of different options that you can decide how you want to do it. I'll talk through doing the full pose, but if you choose to take one of the other options, just pick up on the things as we're going through. Okay, so we'll take, as I say, the feet not as wide as you can go, but give yourself a bit more than hip distance apart. And then turn your toes so they're going outwards at sort of 45-degree angle. And then bring your arms up into that kind of American goalpost or cactus arms that we had before. And then take your hips back as if you were going to sit on the chair behind you. So we're trying to keep the weight back into the heels and engaging the core as well. That'll help to keep you up. If it's too much, you can always ease off. If you want a bit more, you can always go a little bit lower down. You can play with it so that it feels good for you. One thing to keep an eye on is to try and make sure that your knees are not coming in too much. You want to try and keep your knees so that they're tracking directly over your toes. As I say, if that's too much or if your knees are not going, then maybe that's a sign you want to bring the legs a little bit closer in together or kind of come up a little bit so that you can keep control of those knees there. Okay, and then just once you're in it, breathing, and then we'll come up, have a little bit of a shake out, and then we'll give it another go in a minute. So take any ease out that you need to. Now this one here is really the kind of visual embodiment of that female creative energy in the yoga philosophy. This is the real embodiment of Shakti. Okay, then let's have another go. So feet, as I say, a bit wider than hip distance apart. Feet pointing out at kind of 45-degree angles. Arms up at right angles. And then just taking the hips back and lowering down. And feeling that you are embodying that female Shakti power. Engaging the core to help keep you, so you're not arching the back too much, keep you supported. Remembering to breathe. And then inhaling just to come up and drop the arms down again. Have a little bit of a shake out if you need to there. Hope you're feeling tapped into your inner goddess there. Okay, let's take a little bit of a counter pose for that. So we'll come back to the chair. And often a lot of people feel that. I'm sure you felt it in your thighs, but also a lot of people feel that in the lower back. So we'll take a little bit of a forward bend. So taking the knees wide apart and then coming forward, hinging from the hips, and either just coming as far as, you know, bringing your elbows onto your knees and come into here, or if you want to, bringing your hands down, whichever option you choose. Make sure that you just let go of the head and let the head just really hang down. And what we're looking for here is a feeling of getting a lovely stretch across the lower back. And forward bends like this are a really good opportunity to just think, bring your attention inwards and just maybe notice how your body's feeling, how you reacted to what we've just done. Just taking another full breath in and out there. And then just gently coming back up again. Okay, so as another little counter pose for that, we'll do, so we've had the hips really open there. We'll do something now that brings the hips in much closer, and also again, it's a nice little stretch out for the back. So we'll do the twist with crossed knees, crossed legs that we did. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. But if you bring your right knee over your left, so it's just like you were kind of crossing your legs as you're sitting. And again, we're right to the edge of the seat here, so you've got a bit of space behind you. And you can sit up nice and tall. So from here, bringing the right hand onto the right knee, that's going to give you a little bit of leverage. Your left hand out in front of you, and then just take the left hand round, following it with your eyes as far as you can. Bring your head round too. And then just put your hand somewhere on the chair, your chair. It will be different for everybody depending on your chair, but somewhere that you can sort of plant your hand there and just use that to give you a little bit of leverage, just to get a good twist in the spine there. And once you're there, thinking about using the breath to support the movement. So as you inhale, lifting and lengthening through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, maybe going a millimetre further into the twist, but taking care with the neck, not overdoing it. So inhaling to lift and exhaling to twist. And we'll take one more round of breath there. And then unravel on an exhale. Back to center. And then we'll do that on the other side. So this sitting up nice and tall again to start with, bringing the left knee over the right, your left hand onto your left knee, right hand out in front of you, and then bringing it round, following your eyes, so bringing your head with you, following the hand with the eyes, and then bringing your hand wherever it kind of lands on the chair to give you a nice twist. So you're looking sort of round in the direction of your, maybe the corner of the room. And when you're here, inhaling to lift and exhaling to maybe go a little bit deeper into that twist. And then taking one more round of breath here and unraveling gently on an exhale and coming back to center. So as I was saying, women in yoga is both a very ancient thing and a very modern thing. So as I say, the records suggest that women did yoga equally with men until about 2000 years ago, and then it became a very male thing for some time, associated with, partly because there were all kinds of things going on with sex and celibacy and things like that. So women excluded until about the last 100 years, but it has, so we are doing something that is both very ancient and very modern by embracing yoga and the our female energy, as yoga philosophy would have it. So just bringing it back to that idea then of female stereotypes, and the fact that the current yoga stereotype is very much kind of female, young, you know, blonde hair, wearing little crop tops and things like that. But actually it's the practice of yoga has very little to do with those stereotypes, and certainly it has not always been a very female thing. But we'll just finish off by coming back to that seed, that contemplation seed that was planted in the beginning. So we'll just come to sitting up again, nice and tall on your chair, shoulders rolling back and down, head in alignment, hands just wherever they rest. It's up to you whether you want to do hands up or hands down. And then either closing your eyes or bringing your gaze away from the screen. And then first of all, just noticing how you feel. If there's any difference to how you felt when you came in. And then coming back to that contemplation from the beginning with the International Women's Day theme, which is choose to challenge. And what I would invite you to do is set a little intention, starting with the words I choose. And you don't overthink it. I would say go with the first thing that comes up. If you can't think of anything, then you can always go with I choose to challenge. You could go with I choose to be myself. Whatever. And if this isn't working for you at all, then just ignore it and just enjoy sitting quietly and breathing. I choose. And just try and slightly deepen your breath. Take a really deep breath in. And then try and empty it all the way out. Empty, empty, empty. As far as you can. And then just let your breath come back to a natural rhythm. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and come back to join us. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, sharing your time and energy with everybody. And it was fab seeing your goddesses on the screen. So I hope that's been interesting as well as a good little stretch. And happy International Women's Day to all of you. Thank you.